wolfman, demon, aliens, or just natural evolution? Let's talk about the Beast of Bray Road. So last year we looked at Mothman, my personal favorite, and we talked about the Hat Man. Now let's look at the Beast of Bray Road. So I like talking about cryptids and things that, you know, are kind of spooky and weird and unexplained. So this, I don't know even where I first heard about Beast of Bray Road. But it was late last year, early this year, I first heard that name, and there's a really bad movie on Amazon Prime and a fairly good documentary, low budget, but fairly good, that if you're interested, you should check out. That's where I got most of my source materials. So, yeah, Elkhorn, Wisconsin, population 10,000, pretty small town. In December of 1991, reporter Linda Godfrey got wind of kind of stories going around of this beast that people were kind of seeing, like with just kind of whispers, almost like what kind of felt like a small town urban legend, like nothing too big, just kind of hush hush. So she kind of started digging into it, and it was just all these stories about this stretch of rural road called Bray Road. It's just this 4-mile stretch of road that's just, it's just farms and farmland and just grass, and I mean that's it. It's just this unassuming stretch of road. So Linda Godfrey wrote this article, just kind of satirical article, about like the whispers and the stories about this, you know, beast that might be wandering around Bray Road. And it all seemed to stem from this occurrence that happened, just so happened, on October 31st of 1991. A high school girl was driving home from work, I believe. It was dark, so, you know, later in the evening. She was driving down Bray Road to get home. I think maybe like a shortcut through town or something. And she felt like a bump, like she hit something. So she stopped her car, got out to look, like, what did I hit? And all of a sudden this beast just came running out of the darkness at her. So she ran back to her car, got in, sped off, but the beast, like, it tried to attack her, and it got the trunk of her car, and there left these long, like, claw scratch marks down the trunk of her car. And Linda Godfrey herself saw these scratch marks, confirmed that they were like 3 long claw marks down the trunk of her car, that she couldn't explain, like, what could have made these marks in this girl's car. Like, obviously something with huge claws that was powerful, that had a lot of strength, to like make those kind of claw marks in a car that was speeding away. Now this article comes out, and it's like this town had been holding their breath, and all of a sudden they see this article and all these stories start coming out, because it's like this town has had all of these experiences throughout the years of this beast, but they didn't want to tell anyone because they thought people would think they were crazy, because it was just all these people alone having these experiences with this beast on Bray Road, but they didn't tell anyone else because they thought they'd be seen as crazy. So you just had all these people with all these experiences keeping it to themselves. But then this article comes out and all these people are like, oh my god, someone else experienced this. So all these people start like opening up about their own stories. And every single story is the same. It's a beast 7 to 8 feet tall, covered in gray fur, head of like a German shepherd that walks on 2 feet, on like its back 2 feet. Most of the time, like sometimes you'll see it running on all fours, but most of the time it's seen like walking or running on its back 2 feet. And now a lot of these sightings happen at night, but there have been sightings in broad daylight. And I mean, it's seen chasing deer and livestock. It's seen in farm like fields. And so it's not just happening at night where you could misconstrue it for some other beast or animal. Like, people have seen it in broad daylight and gotten really good like descriptions of it. And so another famous account comes from Lori Andrezzi, who was driving down Bray Road at night going home, and she saw something on the side of the road, and she said it was kneeling like a man, but it was this beast covered in gray fur, head of a German shepherd, 7 or 8 feet tall, and it was kneeling, eating like roadkill that was laying on the side of the road. And she said it was just, she'd never seen an animal like kneeling like that, and that's what stood out to her. And she said as she got closer and the headlights like really washed over it, like it looked at her and then ran off. So obviously this creature is not like, it's not big into people. It doesn't really like to be seen. So another account claims that they were driving down Bray Road, and they saw the beast off to the side of the road, so they freaked out and sped up, and the creature chased after them, and they got up to 55 miles an hour, and the beast was like chasing them, keeping pace with them at 55 miles an hour, like at the passenger side window, keeping pace, which is funny because that sounds a lot like that one Mothman story where they were driving like 96 miles an hour down the road and the creature was keeping pace with them beside the car, flying. So they went a few miles and eventually like they lost the creature. He veered off. So I just thought that was kind of crazy because it sounded like the Mothman account. So now while we're just hearing accounts, you know, come through in the 90s, these people of Elkhorn have been seeing this beast for years. But the first known sighting comes in 1936, and this is where, I mean, it gets kind of crazy. And you're like, is this true? Like, where could the origins of this really come from? So in 1936, there was a security guard, like a night watchman, that was watching over a Catholic church. And this Catholic church had a cemetery, like out, you know, back in the backyard, whatever, like, you know, a lot of old churches do. And so he was making the rounds, and he goes out to the cemetery just to shine his flashlight around. And over by one of the graves, he sees this creature, same description, digging like by or in one of the graves, like it's looking for something. And of course, like the first night he's just terrified, so he just kind of hides and just like goes back inside the church. So he goes back to his job the next night, and there it is again, by some grave, digging like it's looking for something. So with nerves of steel, I can't imagine where this night watchman gets it from. He confronts the creature, shines his light on it, says, "Hey." This creature turns and glares at the night watchman. And he says something, or utters something guttural that sounds like Gadara. So, why is this relevant? So, Gadara is a region in the Bible where Jesus exorcised demons out of a man. I know the story, I know what they're talking about, like, I think maybe that's the story where he like exorcised the demons into a group of pigs. Is that where the whole like Legion, I am Legion story comes from? Maybe it's a different one. I don't know. Jesus did a lot of things in the Bible. Whatever. And so the story continues with around that time, like shortly before, like in the 20s or so, in that church that the night watchman was like patrolling, there'd been a priest who'd been trying to exorcise a demon out of a young boy in the town, and he'd been having trouble. And then apparently the demon attached itself to the priest after it came out of the boy. And then that's just kind of where the story stops. Like, no one knows what happens to the priest. So there's talk or like conspiracies of like maybe the Beast of Bray Road is this priest or the demon that attached itself to the priest or something. I don't know. It gets kind of weird. The sightings are still going on today, with the farmers in the area like on Bray Road being more outspoken, because obviously it's not such a like, oh, you're just crazy thing anymore, because cryptids and paranormal and everything are more of a thing now and more accepted. So we've been getting more stories and more people trying to catch, you know, pictures and videos of the Beast of Bray Road. And even so far as this farmer named with the last name of Lee, we'll just call him Lee, he bought a farm on Bray Road in 2007, I believe, not knowing any of this craziness because he moved to Wisconsin. So he wasn't like a local. He didn't know anything about it. And then he moved there and got on the farm and had all this strange stuff happening where he would like leave out carcasses from animals that he like hunted or, you know, butchered or roadkill that he found. He'd leave it in his fields and then like they just disappear, which was weird because he didn't have any big animals around, and like raccoons couldn't just take off with big carcasses. So he, you know, would like talk to his neighbors and be like, what's going on? And they told him about the Beast of Bray Road and the experiences they were having. So he decided to set up trail cameras. And this is what's weird and fascinating to me. This is where the story takes kind of a crazy turn. So Lee set up trail cameras, like picture and video. And it's crazy because in the documentary they show it. So he has this carcass laying in his field. And on the trail camera, he never captures anything that looks like the description of the Beast of Bray Road that people have seen countless times. What he captures is, I mean, more than once, this mist will come into frame and like cover the carcass and then like go up out of frame and the carcass is gone. And like sometimes he'll capture like red eyes. Thank you, Charlie. Red eyes in the background, like off in the trees. But he'll never capture anything that looks like a beast or an animal. Which makes me wonder, is it a beast? Or is it? Because like, they've also had, there's also like mentions of like, he's also caught stuff in the sky that makes him like think there's an alien activity around too, which wherever you fall on aliens, I don't know myself. It just, I've never come to be like, oh yeah, I believe in aliens for sure, because it just isn't, I don't know. It just, But as far as spirits go, spirits are beings that we can't perceive with our own eyes and can't be picked up like you would expect on film or video. Is this being able to have changed itself so that the human eye perceives it one way, but a camera can't pick it up that way? So it picks it up in its natural state, or closest to its natural state as possible, like a mist or eyes. Like, it's fascinating to me that it can't be picked up on film the way the human eye perceives it. That to me just like, I don't know, I love that aspect of it. So another thing about this story is that Bray Road used to be an old native hiking trail, like a travel trail. Like, natives used to travel along Bray Road. So another theory is, what if it's like a Wendigo or a skinwalker? Terrifying. So, I mean, that could also, you know, lead some credit to the way it seems to change form. How there's slight differences between some of the stories, but not like huge differences. And the fact that it can't be picked up on film the way the human eye sees it. So what do you guys think? Is it aliens? Is it a dog man? Is it a Wendigo? A skinwalker? Like, you know? Or, like the Mothman, do we have to wonder, is it just a hoax? I mean, with anything like this, the Hat Man, the Mothman, Chupacabra, anything like this, you have to wonder, is it just all a big, elaborate hoax? But for those of us who are into this kind of thing, you really just kind of hope it isn't. That there's validity to it, and that it's all real. Some people have even speculated that it's just a creature in that area that, like, evolution just took over and it, you know, evolved into this whatever it is now, which to me is kind of a crazy theory, but, you know, anything's possible, I guess. Alright, you guys, so what do you think about the Beast of Bray Road? Have you heard of it before? What do you think? Like, is it real? Aliens? Dogman? Cursed priest? What do you think it could be? Yeah. I don't know where I sit on it, honestly. Like, I just kind of like guessing and not knowing. Not knowing makes it creepier. So, yeah, let me know what you think down below. And, yeah, let me know what your favorite cryptid is. Because, yeah, I'm Mothman all the way. So, alright, I love you guys so much, and I will see you later.